right, today we're going to be looking at making some fried chicken sandwiches. And to do this properly, you're going to have to start about 24 hours beforehand. So plan ahead and get these ingredients out. What we got to do, we got some fresh chicken. We're going to do it in buttermilk and pickle juice. No, it's not going to taste like pickles.
Yeah.
But you got to use the pickle juice. It's going to have some salt to brine it properly. We want some sriracha to add some heat and a little bit of flavor. So we're going to put some onion and some garlic powder. For the chicken, there are multiple ways of trying to cut the chicken properly for some sandwiches. But the first thing we want to do is get rid of this extra stuff on it. So let's take this, and we're not really going to need that. Those little bits. You can fry them up if you want, but not really going to help us in this particular cause. What you'll probably be thinking for chicken sandwiches to cut it like this to get some nice chicken slices, maybe slice it in half. I found that to be very unpredictable. You get pieces that are varying widths, and so what you need to do to cook this properly in the end is have everything sliced exactly the same way. So we're going to be slicing these things this way, and we're going to make them about maybe a little less than half an inch, a little bit more than a quarter of an inch. That way you get nice even slices that are thin. They're going to fry up nicely. They're going to cook evenly, and that are going to taste great and are going to be nice and juicy. So let's look at slicing these things. What we're going to do is put it right about there. We want all of them about that thickness. So and we're going to have a ton of chicken here to fry up. And what's great is if you want a small little chicken sandwich, just one of these will do. Other than that, stick 2 or 3 of them on there for an awesome ending. So let me slice all these through and then we'll see where we're at. All right, we have got the chicken cut up, and what we're going to do is we're going to start the prep so we can soak this chicken overnight. We got a cup of pickle juice. And I'm going to put in 2 cups of the buttermilk, because we want to make sure we get the chicken all covered, all soaked. And with this much chicken, we're going to need a lot. So if you got half the chicken, I'd say use about half of those ingredients. As far as the rest of it goes, it just depends on how hot you want it with the Tabasco or the Sriracha sauce. We're going to put in about that much, a little bit more, maybe. And for the garlic powder, just put something in there, maybe a tablespoon. And same with the onion powder. And of course, you can add various seasonings or whatever you want. Some pepper in here might also be good. But the one thing you do want to add is some salt. Did you put it out? So let's go ahead and use a couple tablespoons of salt. That's a lot, but then again, most of it's going away. So really what you want to do is make sure that the chicken gets that brine going so it stays nice and juicy, and that's the way to do it. So 2 tablespoons of salt. The other flavorings don't really matter that much, just to taste. Stir it up, and then we're going to add the chicken in and soak it overnight.
How's it going? It's not.
It's going fine. All right, once you got some cling wrap unwrapped properly, go ahead and get that cling wrap tight to the mix. You don't want any oxygen. Oxygen is the killer of food. So if you're storing it, make sure there's no oxygen in there. Get it tight, and then we can put this into the fridge overnight. All right, it's been 24 hours. We have marinated the chicken, and we're ready to figure out the dredge that we're going to use so we can fry it up nice and crisp. As far as what spices you use, it's kind of up to you. There's a lot of different options. What we're using today is about a tablespoon or so of basil, oregano, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder. Now you got salt and pepper. I'm using some white pepper today because that has a little bit different flavor to it, as well as some cayenne pepper. Now it depends on how hot you want your spicy chicken sandwiches. We don't like them that spicy, so I'm just using a little bit, but feel free to
Spice it up.
Spice it up.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna. This is 2 cups of regular all-purpose flour. We're gonna throw the spices in there, mix it up, then we're gonna start dredging. Now we're gonna be dredging for about 40 minutes or so before we're actually gonna be frying it, so it has a chance to kind of rest and get ready for the fry. Now, there's a lot of different ways to dredge chicken to deep fry it. One way you can kind of dredge it, put it in some egg batch, and then put it back. And I'm going to skip the egg altogether. That's never really worked that well for me. We're just going to stick with a simple dredge today. Right. So, for the dredge, we're going to take a piece of chicken out. Make sure you wash your hands first.
Thank God.
Drip it a little bit. Stick it in and out. And what we're going to do is in about 20 minutes or so, that's going to kind of soak in, and we're going to be able to add a little bit more flour to it so it fries up nice and crisp. All right, we have dredged it, and as you can see, it's even starting to get a little wet, so don't throw this out. Before we fry it up, we're going to add as much as possible to make sure it fries up as crispy and delicious as possible. All right, we've got, this has been sitting around for about a half hour. You can see they're kind of wet on the outside, so we're going to add a little extra crispiness.
Like that. Okay.
All right, the first thing you need to do when you're cooking with oil is to not hurt yourself. So what we've done is we've got an oil pan here. We've only filled it halfway. Don't fill it more than that. If you got a deep fryer, that's great. But if you're going to do this, you have to be really careful. One of the things you want to do to make sure that you're cooking it hot enough is to have help from a gnome. Is to use one of these temperature things in here. You put it in there, you can see exactly how hot that oil is. Oil takes a lot longer than you think to heat up. So it can be hot, but not hot enough to really fry the chicken, which can ruin your first batch if you're not careful. So, what we're going to do is we're going to put the chicken in here. You're going to see it's hotter than it really needs to be because she was out doing things instead of filming, which is unfortunate.
Terrible slacker.
But when I put this chicken in there, you're going to notice that this is going to drop down significantly.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
we can use the heat up and down to
I can't
keep
really
this
see it
temperature
on my camera, but yeah,
at
I
the
believe
right
you.
temperature. All right, so
Let's go. Stick it in.
Oh my.
Oh. I love that sizzle. Sizzle in my nizzle. Yo-yo 90s.
No.
Okay. Wow.
No, really no.
Is it going down?
It will. It can't be spicy chicken sandwiches without some spice. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some Tabasco Sriracha mayo spread.
Woo!
So
Fun.
the great thing about this is it's super easy. All you need is mayo and sriracha. There's some mayo out there. Decide how hot you want it and mix it up. And that's all it takes. And this stuff tastes great. All right. We fry the pieces of chicken for about 6 minutes at this particular thickness. This is why you want to have your chicken all at the same thickness so it cooks evenly across the board. See, it's nice and crispy and brown. We'll take those out, and this is what we got so far.
Looks good.
Smells even better.
Now, to build the perfect spicy fried chicken sandwich, what you need is some pickles, tomatoes, coleslaw. Coleslaw can't be overstated how good that is. And your chicken and your...
I don't even like coleslaw, but I like it on this chicken sandwich.
I know, right?
I know.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some of that mayo.
Oof. Duh. Oh, yeah.
And the most important thing is to put the tomato next to the mayo.
Why is that, Stephen? Tell us why.
It's just
the way it
the
is.
amazing thing that mayo does to tomato.
Okay.
We're going to put
Perfect,
some tomato on there.
perfect.
Then we're going to throw that pickle on the bottom.
Unless you're me.
Unless you are sad and don't like pickles.
Yeah, that.
And then we need to find a couple pieces of chicken. They're going to look good on this sandwich. I'm going to grab
Oh, that
one
looks
here.
real good.
And I'll grab that one there. There's some good chicken.
Gosh.
And what we're going to need is
Oh, yes, the coleslaw on
the
top.
coleslaw on top. So
Delicious.
let's throw a good stack and more of coleslaw. Throw that on there. And that is the perfect chicken sandwich.
Beautiful, yum. Now for the taste test. Let's see how this looks. So good. You know what the best part is? Your wife's pasta salad on the side. Heck yeah.